Hey, how's it going tonight, everybody? Going to do a real quick video just on ES SPY as requested in chat real fast. So I got two charts here. One is the hourly and the other is the daily, just to give you a broader view of kind of what we're looking at here. Um, as you can see, once again, we're getting into a very tight range here on ES the past, you know, 3 days, 2.5 days have been between 2157, 2158, and 2142. So about a 16-point range, and we have touched each of those levels basically each day. As talked about in chat, Tim mentioned it down. He posted a um, chart for you guys. Every single jobs data so far this year, whether a beat or a miss, we've seen a market uh, move upward. A couple of the misses, we did see a drop off, but since the job report does come out at 8:30, the market has time to digest it and kind of make its move before everything opens up. And usually we do see a drop on the miss and then a rally throughout the course of the day. So just something to keep mindful of. It all kind of impacts with the rate hike and you know with the elections and stuff. So a lot of things coming into play here going into tomorrow. So looking at this hourly, I have a couple, well, actually a decent amount of support and resistance lines that I've been able to draw. Um, after this massive sell-off and then the sell-off a couple weeks ago. Just based on the past 2 weeks or so, we can see that we have a couple different trend lines here that have been coming into play throughout the course of the past couple days. One being from the all-time high up here, and it's come down and been kind of acting as pretty strong resistance and creating downward channel here. We also have one from the previous all-time high that I went ahead and drew, and as you can see, it was acting as some resistance here, here, and then once it broke above it, it's kind of coming to play where it's had some volume stops and price action at those lines, and then it's you see a couple different support lines coming in here. So I just kind of drew that based off of yesterday and today's price action. Today being the where it really did touch tip to tip of this channel line here. So we're in a downward channel here, and you can see that from the low a couple weeks back, which is acting now as was some support coming in here, is now going to start acting as resistance on Wednesday, and then we didn't quite get up to today. I do have this random trend line in here, just based off of Tuesday's volume and Tuesday's pretty big sell off and then pop, as kind of a support line that broke today, and then we actually came back, and these things intersect here and rejected there at 2156. That was the kind of line that I was watching today when I got long some 217 calls to see if anything could kind of happen. I was watching the price action, and that chopped down around 2154. The 2153 and 2155. So that's kind of the range that's been really tight when we do get in that area. So not a whole bunch of volume, but there will be some volume buildup in there, whether supply demand, not really sure of. So what I'm looking for basically is to stay within this channel. If we break above, which tomorrow would be a break, above this 2154, upside to 2159, which, as you can see if I zoom in here, we do have an inverted head and shoulders here, with the top being at 2158 to 2159, give or take. And you can see here we got the one left shoulder curling up here, the bottom here, which is the inverted head, and then we created this other shoulder today, with the majority of the price action being the shoulder at 2150. So that's what we are watching for right now. We're actually currently at 2152. So we're looking for an upward move with a break of just about a solid clear break of 2155 to 2154, and from there we should get a move up to 2158. So it's in a pretty tight range. We did have a hourly EMA cross here today. It gave us a nice move. And then now we're looking for it coming in here to see if we get a downward cross. Typically, these crosses, so when this cross occurred here, we're at 2150 and we got to move up to 2156. So usually we do get about a 10-point move roughly on these hourly crosses. So something to be mindful of on that. The stoches are turning down here. So that's what I got for the hourly. Now on the daily real quick, I went ahead and just did a Fibonacci retracement to kind of see what these lines and why they're coming into play. So if you look at this, it gives you a pretty good indication of why we're getting this price action where we are. We're seeing the 50. So I went ahead and did the tick from the all-time high to the low that we put in on 9/12, which was that gap down, sell off, and then big move back up off of the move. Yeah, so 9/12. So basically what we're looking at here is we have our zero line at 2100 and our one line at which is 100% move at 2191, which is the all-time high. So the really key to watch here is going to be the 50, the 68, and the 38 right here. So the 50 line is acting as some support throughout this chop. The 61.8% retracement is acting as pretty good resistance the past couple days. You can see here on 930 resistance. We did have some big moves up, but the price action was minimal and didn't last very long. So what we're kind of looking for here is if we can get above this 2156, which was right at this channel line here, this trend line. Above that, we're looking for as I talked about in the hourly, 2162 would be the next line, and then from there 2172. So that'd be a pretty big move, but we have seen 20-point moves, and that's something to be mindful of. So I'm looking at the top of any kind of big move at 2172, which is the number that Tim talked about last week to kind of complete this Elliott wave that we're in right now. And then if we break down below this trend line here, which we are pinching very, very tightly here. I'm just going to go ahead and mark this down. So we're pinching right here at this, the intersection going to be at 2153, which again is where all that price action and chop has been coming into play. So if we break below this, then I'm looking at 2145, which is a 50% retracement to be some support. If we go below that, we have it at 2141, 2143, and a 38% retracement being at 2135, which I'm gonna kind of put as the bottom, which would be 214 roughly, 213.80, which we put in the other day. So something to be mindful of. We got this kind of triangle wedge here, pinching tight, which should come into play tomorrow. And then we're looking for a break above and a break above 2156, and from there we can go test some of these levels that we put in last week, and a break below. We're looking at 2145, 2143, and then 2135. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and reach out. I'll be online for the next couple hours. That's kind of what I'm looking at tomorrow. I'm thinking tomorrow is a pretty good day for some nice moves. And yeah, got any questions, hit me up. Have a good night, guys. Trade safe.